now. And time is
The
start.
Shadow R. Fox's rant of truth.
Yeah, this is Shadow All Fox goes to war with the what is it? The government of China. So I guess the People Republic, the PRC, People Republic of China, Xi
Yes,
Jinping.
was it the People's Republic of China? Is that what it's called?
And that it shouldn't have any republic in its name, but I believe so. Yes.
Of course, it's not a republic.
No, it's dictatorship right now.
Of course.
I mean, it was at one point improving to a point where it could be considered going towards capitalism and moving a little bit and a little bit more democracy, because it technically was at one point holding elections for the current dictator.
Yeah, that didn't last long.
It didn't last long, but it lasted I think 3 presidents or 3 elected leaders, because after Mao there was one person who eased up on Mao stuff. Then another person came in who basically started moving toward capitalism, and then the person who came in after him was like, this capitalism stuff is still working, so I'm going to keep it going. And then we got the current person, who is Xi Jinping, who's the complete just asshole dictator of his time, who's straight up just basically, he's going back to the time of Maoism and Stalinism with the whole state of basically as China is now, with the whole watching people, Big Brother's watching, the nationalism that is not borderline racism, straight up is racism. That's all him right now.
That sounds like China.
And just some of the stuff they've been doing, and me pulling up or keeping up with the news, is shedding some light on some shit. So remember the first time I brought up China, I said I was pissed off because of what they were doing to Africa.
Yeah.
Essentially reintroducing, well, slavery always still been in Africa, but basically bringing back colonialization to Africa. Just the Chinese version, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, then I brought up, I think I told you guys this separately outside the podcast, of the racism with China towards immigrants during COVID.
Yes, you mentioned it in excruciating detail.
I'm going to go into detail just to catch people up. So for those who don't realize it, when COVID hit, China, Xi Jinping took a zero COVID policy. What this meant was, where the U.S. did partial lockdowns and encouraged people to stay indoors, China straight up went with the policy of, you will not leave your house if we lock this area down. Your ass is going to be in there until we say you can leave it. While that may be somewhat effective, well, it's not even effective. And I'll go into detail why it's not even effective the way they did it. But they basically locked everyone into their homes in many districts. And for immigrant, and they need someone to blame this on. And they couldn't, well, of course, at this point, we all know COVID pretty much originated from China. At this point, they can map it to the district it came from. I think they could even map it to the street it came from at this point.
Without a doubt.
And, basically what happened is, they basically need someone to blame COVID on. So they blamed it on foreigners, saying this was a foreign disease. So you would see signs, if you was not Chinese, you would easily see signs around China where it would say, you cannot come into this building if you are above this temperature or if you are a foreigner for health code reasons. And then it got even more racist because they specifically said, oh, it's black people. So it would say nobody who haven't been vaccinated and no black people for health reasons can enter this building. You will see, you can look up YouTube videos of people being pulled out of their apartments who are black people, just being rounded up on the street and being carted away. It's really actually kind of scary how they're just pulling people out of their homes and just say, okay, no, you can't be here anymore.
I believe that.
Yeah, it's China. And
Yeah.
they've been doing essentially a mass deportation of all foreigners, where they basically been making it almost impossible or very like you do not want to stay there if you're not Chinese. To the point like, if you go into a restaurant, people will start talking about you because of all the propaganda that you're causing COVID. And it'll be people just making backhanded remarks going, are they infected? Am I going to get sick near them? Um, and apparently, like, they've been just, even before COVID started, they've been just propaganding like a bunch of racists going, oh, China's so great. Every other country in this world suck compared to China. We got so much freedom. We got so much opportunity. I know Archimedes trying to hold back his laughter right now.
Oh, the definitions of freedom are very different.
Oh, you would be surprised at how crazy they get with how they think they got so much freedom in China right now.
I know there's some people who are alive. That's freedom.
Not even that anymore, because China's been doing a genocidal purge of the, I'm gonna butcher their name, the Ouija people, Ouija people, Ouija, I think, Ouija people.
No, it's not the first time.
Not the first time. Well, yeah, not the first time, but the first time in modern history that it's been going on.
Not even close.
Not even close, but yeah, not even close. I was gonna say on a mass level, but
Not
not even
even.
close. I keep gotta go. No, not even close yet. But which is sad. But
That is sad. I'm laughing for the sheer discomfort of how true that statement is.
I'm trying to think how I can word this, but every way it's gonna come in not even close. But
Yeah, no, there's no way. It's shocking.
I can say on a volume level in terms of numbers, China will currently have them beat though.
Decently.
Because
Yeah, no,
I would say in
it's
that way I can say not even close in China regard, because in that case, because of population, you gotta admit Archimage is probably gonna be China is number one right now
Oh yeah,
in terms of genocide on numbers,
yeah, that's fair.
just by sheer population of the country.
No, I agree with that, and that's the ones we know about.
But basically, they. So Archimage, of all those times you've been saying that you don't like the whole lockdown policy that were implemented in the U.S. because it is ruining the businesses.
Yes.
Have you seen how China did with some of those lockdowns in their districts of complete and utter lockdowns?
I have not, but I imagine it's pretty bad.
Okay, so okay, so you remember when Trump was in office and he did partial lockdown, where if it wasn't if it wasn't an essential service, it
Yes.
shouldn't be open. And some businesses, I think restaurants got around this because food was seen as an essential service,
Correct.
which kept many and it did allow the delivery business to kind of boom during that whole COVID time.
Yes.
So, I mean, some good did come out of it, but a lot of bad did also come out of it. It was kind of mixed all around.
Yeah.
And China did, if your district became locked down with COVID, nobody could leave their apartments. If you left your apartment, there was gangs of people on the streets to literally beat you up and make you record a video saying how great China was and how you were being given the freedom to be locked back up into your house.
How's that different from every day?
That's true. Well, opposite to every day, you're not supposed to be locked up in your house. They actually do want you to go outside of your house.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Just I had to make the joke.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, that's true. It's scary how true. Well, let me rephrase that. If you're the Ouija people, that is very true what you said, Archimage.
Oh, I know.
Because they're straight up in concentration camps right now.
That doesn't surprise me.
Doesn't surprise. I feel bad because I legitimately didn't know China was straight up just literally no better way to put it. Literally doing a Nazi level concentration camp for people right now.
I'm still surprised that you didn't know that.
I think on some level I did. I think I knew. I knew things like that would happen during Mao's time, and I knew that they were still doing that. I didn't know how open they was about it.
That's fair.
Like that, you know how they're constantly trying to hide stuff, and while they do keep this out of national news most of the time, it's like, oh, you don't have to look that hard. If you just Google China and genocide, you'll find out very quickly who they're genociding right now.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
But what is where was I? Oh yeah, COVID. Basically, they would lock down the whole region, which means the whole place was shut down. Wherever building you were in when the lockdown was declared, you're stuck there. It literally was so bad. People would literally carry bags of food, you know, toothbrushes, hair, clothing, everything, so that way they could, if they got accidentally locked down in the building, they would have something to survive on.
Right.
So you can imagine how businesses did with literally no one coming into your business. And remember, I also said the mortgage in China is horrible. If you don't mind me asking, Archimage, how much do you generally pay a month on rent or mortgage or anything like that?
Before COVID or now?
Let's do now.
Okay, now it's about 889.
Oh, people in China would hate you by how cheap that is.
Oh yeah, I know.
So, if you had to take a guess how much just paying off mortgages was,
2300.
and that's pretty decent for in China, it's $5,000
Damn.
a month.
I should have doubled that.
A month, and this is for those tiny ass little apartment buildings.
Right.
That's like several hundred to 1,000. That's like several $1,000s a month.
That makes. Yeah, no, I believe that.
You believe it, but you can't imagine how. Imagine if they charge for your apartment $5,000 a month.
Bye. Just bye.
You would be homeless at that point.
Oh yeah.
And that's the current situation in China with the mortgage. Is the mortgage had basically, even before COVID, the house real estate was horrible because it was corrupt, like many businesses and stuff in China. But it was super corrupt because people saw it as one way to get a lot of money very quickly. And I've told you guys this in the on car rides before, but I'll say it. Basically, they got a system of people find if you own houses in China, you're seen as attractive and successful. So people will buy one house, and before that house even get built, they'll already make a down payment on another house.
Makes sense.
So it's like the real estate bubble in America, but worse. Because
That's saying something.
yeah, because ours were pretty bad. Ours were people buying houses who should have stayed in apartments. And while you did get some cases of people buying two houses, it wasn't that many. If memory serves correctly, my memory may be off.
No, I think that's correct.
Because I remember a few people bought houses because it was cheap back then to buy two houses, but it wasn't that many. And many people who bought two houses, they were trying to sell the other one.
Yeah, I mean that's still pretty typical.
Whereas in China, it would be like people would buy two houses with the mortgages being that high. So the way real estate companies work in China is they start building dummy houses or ghost towns, as you will see in China, where it's basically a good chunk of towns in China are just buildings that are empty on the inside, because real estate company will start building a very nice looking building and say, yeah, you can live here, it's almost finished, and people will start paying mortgages on it. They will use that money rather to finish the building to take out a loan from the bank so they can buy more land, build more fake houses so they can keep the process going. Well, eventually, you know when this is going to start turning into a problem. when people need to
Yeah.
start living in their fucking houses. So now you have COVID hit, you got people stuck in their houses, and you got people not having income, having to pay outrageous mortgages to survive. So you can
Yeah.
imagine how their COVID situation turned out.
Yeah. I don't really have
Oh,
to imagine. You
and
got a
I
good
forgot the
idea.
best part. The government don't believe in bailouts.
Yeah. That's China for you.
So imagine how all of that went along for China and their whole zero COVID policy. Needless to say, many businesses went way under.
I'm
You got
shocked.
whole districts just being abandoned and people having to move out.
Again, shocked.
And here's the killing part. For all of Xi Jinping trying to say, look how well we're doing, look how we handle COVID. COVID is still in freaking China, even though he doesn't want to admit it. It's still in China because they're still implementing these zero lockdown policies in multiple districts all around China.
Yeah.
You know, look in the US. You may still see a couple people with masks, but for the most part, the quarantine period is over. It's done. You know, we still got COVID, but most of the people nowadays either got the vaccine or they're at the point where they're probably going to die from it, and they got
Yeah.
accepted.
Pretty much, or built up the natural immunity to it.
Exactly. In China, those well, here's the other thing. They say their vaccines are better than our vaccines. I knew that would get a laugh out of you. I knew that would get a laugh out of you. Oh, let me give you the justification of why their vaccines are better. If you were a foreigner in China during the time when they were doing vaccines, they would have been like, they would have had two different vaccines. The Chinese vaccine and the foreigner vaccine.
Wonder which one's better.
Neither. It's China.
I wonder which one doesn't contain. You know what? Neither. It's
neither
China.
is China.
I realize what I'm saying. Never
But
mind.
they would keep their what they thought was the better vaccine for the Chinese under the assumption that the Chinese and the foreigners were so different from one another that the vaccine made for the Chinese would not work on the foreigners. I haven't seen that level of I have not seen that level of racism anywhere in the States since like 1950s and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, that's not racist at all.
Because
I mean, that in no way is, you know what? I can't even pretend to defend that.
I mean, that's a level of racism you haven't seen since the days of, oh, what was it called when they had that gene, where they were trying to cleanse the gene pool or whatever.
Eugenics.
Eugenics. That you haven't seen racism like that since the days of eugenics. And in China, that's still completely normal and acceptable and believed to be the natural cause of things when it comes to foreigners and Chinese people.
Yeah, I believe that. Believe that entirely, which is what I've said to people. If you want to see real racism, go to China.
Oh, yeah. No,
in fact, go anywhere but America, and you'll actually experience racism.
I would say like places like UK, France, you'll see it, but it won't be as bad as that. It'll be like US level of racism.
Little worse, but not that much worse.
Which one, France?
France and UK.
Oh, UK. I would have thought UK would have been a little bit better just because of they got a little bit more diversity on those aisles. But then again, I think the French would be better probably.
Well, the French are still mostly assholes, but
yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, getting past the asshole part.
What you got to remember with UK is that they actually hate half their people, because Scotland is part of the UK, and the Scots hate the Brits. The Irish, is Ireland part of the? Sorry,
Um,
go ahead.
Ireland is still part of the UK, kind of.
Yeah,
Well, the killing part
they
is
hate both of them.
it is strange that the Scot was still. I can understand them still hating the Brits, but then they get the chance to vote on having, um, being
Yes,
declared
yes,
their
they do.
own country, and by majority they decide to remain part of the UK
More or less.
because they realize economically they wouldn't be able to sustain on their own.
Well, that's not how they claim, but economically, it would be a pain in the ass to break away from Britain. So it was best just to stay part of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but there's still a lot of tension.
Well, I
So with
mean, there's how many thousands of years of warfare between the Scots and the English?
so yeah, but no, my point is the racism. It's different in England because the racism you'll see is white people against other white people.
Yes. And you'll get similar thing in Africa with black people
Oh, yeah.
towards other black people. You look at the
And
Hutus and the
India,
Tutsis.
and let's not forget India,
Oh, India is
Pakistan,
super bad.
and the Middle East.
Well, India and Pakistan is literally religion with that.
Oh, believe me, they're racist against
Now,
other people too.
but within India itself, that's when you get the caste system of racism,
Oh yeah, no, and
and
I also
within Pakistan itself too.
and in a few parts of India, the slave trade is still going on,
Oh, yeah.
which is funny. I'm curious. I'm curious. As a black person, how do you feel about the fact that in India, I, as a white person, would actually sell more than you?
What you mean in terms of because of the caste system?
No, no. In terms of money, like white people sell for more than black people and
Oh, as
Indians.
slaves.
Yes, and slaves. That's what I mean. How does it make you feel knowing that I'd actually go for more money? No point to be made. I'm just curious.
I don't know if I want to say this joke.
Just say it. What? Come on. It's me. I don't care.
It's pretty bad. I will almost say, am I the one selling? I told you I didn't know if I wanted to say that joke. I told you I didn't know if I wanted to say that joke. I knew that would get a laugh.
Good. That was really good.
You know it means like.
I didn't. You know what? I didn't even think of that joke. That was a good. That was
And
well
that's
done.
how Africa, you white people stole the slave trade from us, damn it. You just can't let us have any good things. We had a nice thing going with slavery, you had to make it worse.
You really did my scenario. I was the one being sold.
Yeah.
Oh, that was horrible. It was hilarious, but it was horrible.
Oh yeah, no, that's why I kept pausing when I'm like, I want to make this joke.
Nobody watches this.
That's true, but for good
Unless
reason.
unless like we actually become famous one day and then like we're having some trial where this is brought against us and we're just like, you can't prove that's us.
Oh, none of us can ever run for office.
Oh hell no.
This would be used
that'd be
against us so quickly.
Oh, I could see it. But yeah, no, I'm sorry, I completely lost your point. Where were you going with this?
Which point was I on? Was I on COVID or was I on?
No, we were talking about the mentions of racism
In China?
In China,
Oh,
yeah.
They're just super. At one time before Xi Jinping came into power, they was promoting people actually immigrating to China. Now that completely reversed to the point they're kicking everyone out of China who isn't Chinese. Oh, and I think we just sidebar into how racist, how everyone keep calling the U.S. racist, but China is the super racist one.
Oh, yeah.
The other thing, and I'll probably stall a little bit of this, but it'll be the next part, namely the business with China freaking out about Pelosi going to Taiwan. Because I always thought that was really stupid. And this feeds into how you hate the media. Because the U.S. media kind of blew out of proportion.
Yeah.
Well, rephrase. The Chinese blew out of proportion, and the U.S. media ran with it when they should have just ignored it.
Yeah.
Because I don't get why it was such a big news that Pelosi went to China. Because, see, the Speaker of the House, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, she is.
The Speaker of the House regularly goes to China. The last Speaker of the House went to China about half a year ago.
Is this the latest, her latest trip to China, or is this like one during COVID?
This was her latest trip
Oh,
to China. And it's not even to China, it's to Taiwan. Taiwan isn't part of China.
Oh, yeah, no. That wasn't what they were annoyed about. I actually heard this story. The questions that are being brought up is not about her trip to Taiwan. It's about who escorted her.
The U.S. military?
No, her son.
Who was her son?
Her son has certain business dealings in Taiwan, so they're bringing up that it's possible coercion and that he's using his mother's influence to boost Taiwan companies, stuff like that.
Okay. Was that
Which I don't know. I don't know if he is. I don't really care. He probably is, but
so boost Taiwan companies or boost U.S. companies in Taiwan?
Taiwan companies. No, none of these asshole politicians boost American companies.
Okay. Okay. And that would explain why. That would somewhat explain why China is getting bent out of shape behind it.
Yeah, and that's why the American people are. Well, that's why some of the news stations are reporting it, because personally, I don't care that much, but
neither.
Strictly technically speaking, it is actually illegal.
Yes, if that is what the recency was going, because that's abuse of your diplomat powers.
Yes, so that's what they're going now. Whether it is or not, that's a hard thing to prove. There's no way in hell they're gonna prove it.
Yeah, because you can easily argue that she just brought her son along so she could have family come with her.
Yeah, and that's what she's arguing. I will admit it's a little suspicious, but again, there's no way in hell you're gonna prove that.
It is very suspicious. The thing that brought the most attention to it is China got bent out of shape behind it.
Yeah.
And that would explain why China got bent out of shape behind it. I don't think that's why, the whole reason why China got bent out of shape. I think the reason China got bent out of shape is because they were, the whole time they've been trying to make it seem like China have a lot more say in the world than it really does. Because you know how currently China is almost a joke to most countries now because of how they've been acting. With the whole, we're China, we're big, we're bad, we're going to push everyone around policy.
Yeah.
And most countries are kind of sick. Back a couple years ago, they were willing to play ball because the economy, it was good for their economy. But at this point, he's pushing so many foreign non-Chinese businesses out of China, nobody can really get into the market anymore, which is killing the Chinese market more than it is the foreigners' market.
Right.
Which, I mean, if we can't make money, we don't give a shit about China at that point.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're just using it now for cheap labor and cheap parts.
Yeah.
Which is the whole reason they want to keep the Taiwan as its own independent country, is because Taiwan actually is by itself a capitalist country.
Yes.
And it allows, it's actually one of the most wealthiest places near China right now, because it make all the chips and all the manufacturers for many machine parts that we use.
That's correct.
And China won't get in on that, and they would just fuck it up if they ever take over Taiwan. I can easily see that now.
Oh yeah, but the reason, of course, that they're hesitating with even considering taking Taiwan.
Oh, U.S. will fuck them up.
Yeah, and not only that, but how bad it went with Russia and Ukraine.
And that's why they're currently, siding with, Russia on this whole invasion of Ukraine, is because they want to test the water to see, okay, how would people react if we did the same to Taiwan? Oh, apparently
Yeah.
really bad. They've been pissed off with Russia.
Yeah, and it hasn't been going well for Russia anyway. And let's face it, if Russia's that bad off, so is China.
Because China's even more corrupt with their military than Russia is.
Oh yeah,
Which is
they may
saying a
have.
lot.
Yes, yes, it is.
That's
They
saying
may
a
have a
whole
really.
lot.
I mean, they may have an impressive standing army, but I guarantee you, their equipment's just as shitty, if not shittier.
Oh, it's even worse because I don't even think they
Yeah.
can arm all. Well, okay, let me stop this recording and I'll pick back up with Taiwan and China and their response to Pelosi because it's hilarious.
Oh yeah.